This shirt don't fit like it used to, and I need another notch on my belt. If you're looking for a six-pack, muscled up kind of man, better look somewhere else. Yeah, I can stand to lose a few pounds, but for right now, I'm working on my dad bod. Oh my God, ain't gotta be.
Welcome to Talking Sports. Different start than normal. Didn't count it down. We're running a little late, but here we are. Your favorite, if we were creative, hosts also. The show does still exist, by the way. But here we are
back
on Thursday night, jumping into talking sports. Adam, we'll start with you, my friend. How you doing?
Say his name and he appears, boys. And today, the name we're saying of the NFL division that we're talking about is none other than Charlie's outstanding AFC South. And that is what we are going to be breaking down today. But I'm all right. Ready to talk some AFC South. I hear there's going to be some possible soccer we're talking about. And hey, boys, we got the All-Star break coming up for MLB as well.
We are definitely talking some soccer today. You can't avoid that one no matter how hard you try.
I'm going to try.
Charlie, how you doing?
We're going to try. I just like how Charlie comes right out and says it.
I'm totally going to try to avoid that. I do know who that England won and that Spain won. So, that's about all I know right now.
You uncultured swine.
I follow soccer.
No, dude, I know. I got too much stuff. I mean, I pay attention a little bit, but, no, not right now. I got to work. I mean, I just left work to start vacation tonight, so I am ecstatic.
Hey.
Leaving for the beach in the morning.
Nice.
Going to head down to Jacksonville, hang out with the brothers. And it's going to be great. I think my dad's going to come up. Be nice. So, be a good time. Going to do some boat stuff and some Pokemon stuff. I'm going to have some fun.
Well, jumping right into the show today, I do want to hit on a little bit of a fun topic, one that I know is near and dear to all of our hearts. Is it a hot dog if there's no meat in it? Joey Chestnut, I'm here for you, buddy.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it ain't a hot dog contest if there ain't no Joey Chestnut in it.
I'm just saying.
Seriously, how we're starting the show off. Okay,
yeah.
Wild card week here, July 11th. It is Christmas in July, my friends. Here we are. You get this hot dog eating contest first. So, is it a hot dog if there's no meat in it?
Yes.
Why?
No, I don't know. It's not.
It's a vegetable sausage or a mystery sausage, which hot dogs are a mystery sausage, to be fair, but the wrong mystery.
It's a carrot wurst.
Mystery.
Yes, you don't know what goes on at the factory. Oh, this is going down a really weird rabbit hole.
Brockbert.
Look, here's how I look at things. We get to the Joey Chestnut thing. I've never tried the Impossible stuff. Some people like it. By all means, they're hot dogs. To the Joey Chestnut piece, I don't know why they got so upset. Like, he signed a deal. I assume whatever company Joey Chestnut plant-based thing that he signed with, it's a sponsor for him. Now, if there was a contractual obligation that he has to represent that company, I understand. You can't have competing brands. But it's the hot dog eating contest, and Joey Chestnut wasn't there. And they still beat whoever was there. He had more of the fake hot dogs than the real person who actually did the Nathan's ones. He's still the champ.
Because it's not the real hot dog.
He still had more.
It's like eating steamed carrots. It's not a real hot dog. So,
oh man,
Charlie, what do you think?
Man. So, yeah, it's not a hot dog. If there ain't no meat in it, it ain't a weenie. All right, I mean, it's just not. But yeah, look, Nathan's, y'all messed this up, man. Y'all messed this up because this is a competition, and when you're in competition, competitors, they all have their own sponsorship. all the time. We see it across
Correct.
the board in competitive sports. That shouldn't matter. And the thing even more is, it's like, yeah, it is. And the thing even more is that the way that Nathan's came out and made their statement, and the way that Joey came out and made his statement, it's like none of it makes sense. Like, all right, y'all just tell us what really happened. Y'all just being dicks about it. That's really what it is.
Like, did somebody
They're
get
being sausages.
like, what happened?
And then he goes and eats what, 2 less hot dogs than their champ.
I thought it was one more. I thought it was 58.
Their
but
champ.
57. I don't know.
No, I think the winner of the Nathans ate 58 in 10 minutes, and he ate 56 hot dogs in 5 minutes. I mean, come on, that's not even.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, 56 in
Yeah.
5 minutes. I mean,
yeah, I mean, like, come on. The real deal is going down on the Netflix.
You know what's gonna happen though, right?
And I'll watch that one.
Joey's gonna get an AEW belt now instead, because that's how this works, right? You get the alternative belt when you don't do the WWE thing. Anyway, so I have let this go way down that rabbit hole.
yes,
And
you
it is a joy, my friends. I am
Troy, get back here, please.
Are y'all going to watch him and Kobayashi go at
Troy,
it?
please.
He said his name. He said his name. Where is he? Where is he? Wait, that's not Joe Henry.
Where you at, Troy? Say his
That's
name and he
Bacon.
appears. It's
Aaron, how you
it's
doing?
Okay.
Daddy Bacon.
Yeah.
You're not Joe Henry, but we still love
No.
You guys hear me?
you. We do.
Now
hear
we
you.
can.
I hate this piece of shit. Okay.
Fair to say Aaron is coming in hot. So there's that. Oh
At
man!
least he's honest about his setup.
Look,
Yeah.
better than my AR-12 internet. So we'll go from there. But now
Was
we
that
got.
a nice segue into the NFC South with AR-15?
It's actually not. I'm going to fly into baseball first because the AFC South deserves the lion's share of the show. And I don't want us to go too far without touching on baseball a little bit, though. We're heading into the All-Star break. And look, besides Aaron and I, we all like different teams. So I wanted to ask the group tonight, how do you feel about your team heading into the break? Adam, go ahead.
The Red Sox are frauds. They should not be this good. You get a bunch of no-name players who no one has ever heard of before, and really, this is what we have to deal with. Like, who is Corella Raffella, whatever the person is? With all due respect to Raffella, I have no idea who you are. You bat ninth, and I have legitimately no clue. I got a friend of mine who thinks that he should be up there for Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't even know who this guy is. We shouldn't be this good. You have guys like, just think about this for a second. Tanner Houck, Carter Crawford, and some of the other guys that were depth pieces for us last year. They were relievers. They were long relievers. Houck has a sub-2 ERA. Crawford's doing really well. And some of these other pitchers that you would have never heard of are making ridiculous headlines right now. And kudos and good for them. I don't know if this is sustainable, but the Red Sox are, I don't know. It'll be really interesting because trade deadline is the end of this month. Are they buyers or are they sellers? Because to me, they're kind of right in the middle right now.
Well, they're in the wild card thick of it, right? So that's the difference with the new MLB. And that's all that matters. If you can get a playoff berth, teams go for it. The Red Sox, as far as they're at in their build.
With what farm system? I was at one of the Woo Sox games. Our farm system isn't good. That's our AAA team. They didn't look good. Some of them were interesting. I'm like, I don't even know who any of these people are. The only person I know of is Yoshida because I was there when he was doing his rehab stint. Like, I would try moving some players and try to get pitching, or not pitching, depth. But the Red Sox are just in a very weird spot right now.
Fair enough.
They're not a World Series contender, I'll tell you that.
So, Charlie, what do you think? I feel your Braves.
Okay. As a long time diehard Braves fan, I'm not worried. You can't phase me. I saw 15 NL East championships with only one fucking ring. So this bad start is nothing. It's okay. We'll be fine. But as a baseball fan, I'm a little worried. I'd feel a lot better if, say, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, who's starting to come around, and a couple of the other guys would start hitting like they should be.
Your Braves owe me money in DFS.
If this continues after this season, I think that they get a new hitting coach, but we'll see. But I mean, we got some bad injuries, and it's hard to overcome losing Acuna and Strider. Those are like your top two guys. So I feel all right about it. I think we're going to go to the wild card, and we'll get maybe a playoff series win. I'm all right with that. We'll come back next year and get the World Series. We'll be all right.
Charlie, two things. One, your Braves owe me money. Get them on the phone and tell them they owe a bunch of us money who played them in DFS over the last month. They owe us money.
Yeah, and Harris.
Yeah. Putting him on blast. I was kidding. Secondly, Troy makes an interesting point. He wants the Braves to get Bichette. How's the Braves farm system look? Because if you're buying a high-end player, and like Combsy says, Bellinger, if you're going to get a high-end player like this,
that's the move.
See,
what are you doing? No. Like, what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Hey, I'm talking to you, buddy. I'm talking to you, and I'm saying, hey, look, man, you got Duran there up there, and what do you want for him?
What are some of the highest prospects you got?
I mean,
I personally think Duran's a bit overrated.
Hey, he's a good hitter. That's what I need. I need a good hitter who can play outfield, because my bats aren't popping like they're supposed to. So I need a good hitter. I think we've got a top, like 8 pitching prospect or something, one left. The thing about it is the Braves, Double A's made a lot of trades through the years. And where we had like a really stacked farm system, he's used a lot of that to build a very potent offense and the makings of a very good pitching squad. It's just, injuries and stuff. That's the thing. There's not a ton. I mean, there's pieces. AA's a good GM, dude. He'll make a team believe in a player. So
you need someone with more power than Duran has. I know Michael Harris is on the IR, but like Duran is Michael Harris. He's a contact hitter. Duran can steal more bases than Harris.
He's a great contact hitter, though. He's got a little bit of power, but he hits deep balls. He gets bases. He gets doubles. He gets triples.
Combs has fixed your problem already.
Bellinger.
I'll tell you why.
Bellinger makes sense.
Look at what the Braves did the last time Acuna got hurt and y'all won the World Series. So all I keep from Braves fans, Acuna got hurt in the World Series.
Cool, Charlie said it a couple weeks ago. Whenever he said it,
I said it just the other week,
bro. Cool story, bro. But look, what they do, they basically traded for an entire outfield, and that's what they relied on. They had a few guys get hot in the bullpen, and they had a purchased outfield in the second half that rolled them to the World Series. I mean, Eddie Rosario, you got him back, and congratulations. You guys washed. You guys nothing now. It's not the same Eddie you guys had then. Jorge Solar's not there for you. So, look, I get it. Jocktober was fun.
Yeah.
You wanged, you chunged.
Pearl necklaces.
It's done. So, I'm telling you right now, Cody Bellinger to me gives the Braves a similar line, though. Even if he's the Soler of that deadline for you guys, cost-wise, it makes sense. It makes sense for the Cubs to try and at least get something out of them now, because the Cubs, they're floundering. There's no way around that one. That's another story. But at the end of the day, I think Bellinger, and I also go for another versatile bat. I look for a utility bat if I'm the Braves trying to solve their situation right now. That's me though.
See, I'm with you. But I just don't like. I just don't believe in him. I don't know. He gets here as of late in his career, especially. He gets hurt a lot. I can't rely on him. You know, he's got some pop sometimes. I'd rather them go after like somebody else. I don't know. I mean, you could get even if you get a young guy, like if you look at like Detroit or something, maybe get one of their young guys from the outfield, maybe like a Riley Green or something. You know, that would be cool. But
Green's interesting.
Yeah. Now I want somebody that they're going to bring him in. I don't want exactly what you're talking about, just a fill-in guy, because we seem to have some injury issues year to year. So give me a guy who's got a couple of years left on his contract that can play the outfield as a starter or be a really good backup piece. If you're going to trade, we don't have as many chips anymore. We don't. Not if you want to keep this offense together, which is what you need to do to win the World Series and hopefully have this dynasty that we all keep, as Braves fans, keep thinking is about to happen. So, you know, it's got to be – I loved how that worked, but we can't do that every year. You can't just reload like that every year.
I'm sorry. I'm seeing some of the comments about Ian Happ, and I'm just like, what did Ian Happ do to deserve that comment?
Now, I got to cut into this for a second here, guys.
Holmes, I like Ian Happ, though. I do like Happ.
You know better, buddy. You know better, bud.
Boy. Oh, boy. Holmesy.
It's a cute 3-game stretch. I'm happy for you, even. I'm happy for you, bud. Good job, buddy. Good job. But we're talking about reality here. The Cubs are 45-49. Like, who are you kidding? You have a -5 run differential. I mean, the Cubs are not doing anything this year. You know it. I know it. I mean, Combs, I love you. But you're wrong, bud. Now, the fun games to watch with the White Sox and Cubs be competitive, at least that way. But with that being said, Aaron, how do you feel with the Brewers shot right now? And as we're bringing on our buddy who just saw his team take a series from the Brewers.
Yeah.
I'm back in other Paul teams. But, Aaron, we have some. Good God.
Like,
someone find that guy a wife. Anyway, so all right.
Sound like an old school typewriter.
Aaron, how do you feel with the Brewers right now going to the break?
What is happening with this show?
Well, I mean, first of all, the Brewers. I think I said it 2 weeks ago when we talked about baseball. I'm just enjoying the ride right now. I am, as a Brewers fan, seeing the St. Louis Cardinals, now 5 games behind us. That team always scares the hell out of me. I mean, I think it was it last year or 2 years ago, they were behind by like 16 games going in the last month of the season. And I thought, you know what? I'm still not feeling good about that because I could see the freaking Cardinals going like,
win 20 straight.
Yeah, win 20 straight. The Brewers lose 20 straight, and all of a sudden the damn Cardinals win the division. So, all the injuries that they've had, and they've still been able to, to hang in there and hold the lead at this point. I was excited when they were in the lead, after the first month of the season, and I thought something, the collapse was coming. But they've got fantastic pitching. I mean, even today, that sucked.
Right.
My God. And when I saw Skeens leave at the end of 7, I thought, okay, here we go. They're gonna bring in the bullpen, and the Brewers are gonna score 2 runs here in the last 2 innings, and they'll win 2-1, and awesome. And they couldn't do a damn thing. So you're gonna have that. It'll be interesting to see how they finish up here against the Nats. And if they can at least win this series, I'll be feeling a lot better going to the All-Star break. And I don't want to see this poor performance again. I mean, the 12-2 loss the other night, against the Pirates was really disappointing. But I mean, 1-0 today, what the hell? I mean,
it's 9-0 yesterday. I mean,
exactly.
Right now.
So, yeah. So, but no, I'm overall, I'm ecstatic. We went a couple weeks ago to the Friday night game against the Cubs when I think they won 4-2, and had some really annoying fucking Cubs fans sitting behind us, screaming the entire time. And even I mean, they're losing, they're still screaming. I'm like, oh, shut the hell up. But, so it's always fun to beat the Cubbies. But yeah, I'm excited for the way they're playing. Hopefully they can keep it up and hold off the Cardinals. I'm not really worried about the rest. I mean, I know Cincinnati got hot there for a little bit. I think they won like 8 out of 10, and they were kind of creeping up, and then they came in and I think they played the Brewers, and Brewers won that series. And yeah, the only team that worries me right now is the Cardinals. So
they shouldn't be worrying anybody.
Well, it shouldn't be. But just to finish the Brewers conversation, I'll be real quick with this. I want to hear Steve's take on his Pirates.
Yep.
Look, to me, the Brewers right now are in a position where they've made the right moves.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want about, I can't say his name, Savale and Keigel, but either way, like those guys are what the Brewers need right now.
Savale.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't even realize they traded for him.
Yeah. Look, the Brewers getting those two guys. You've got playoff experience with both guys. You have guys who know how to get through a season in the innings and play at a high level when their arms are right. And you mix that in with what we're seeing from overachievers in Tobias Myers, Colin Ray. It just blends well. Joe Ross is on rehab right now. Devin Williams is on rehab this weekend.
Yeah, they have some guys coming back here pretty quick that they're going to have.
And we're already a top 5 bullpen, and Devin Williams add to it. I mean, talk about trade deadline improvement. So to me, the future is still bright for us. When you're at a plus 77 right now, even after a 12-2 loss this week, run differential, I'm looking at a team that's primed in division that even talking about those doggone Cardinals are minus 38, and those lowly Reds are somehow plus 32. So when they lose, I don't get it. Whatever, they lose a lot. People are losing a lot of close games, right? So anyway, now the Brewers are in a good spot to me. The Cardinals can't sustain this, and I can go on snubs all day long, but it's Bucko time. Steve, your nasty color wearing black and yellow is a horrible combination, but you can talk about your team all you like. What do you think?
They're hot and they're cold. And that's the problem. They don't have – it's a constant theme that folks talk about here in Pittsburgh. You see one day when they light it up, hit 7 home runs, grand slams. They run out of fireworks at PNC Park because the team just scores runs like crazy, and the next night they don't show up. And that's been the problem, is the consistency. There's nights that they get great pitching support and they don't get the defense and the run support. There's nights that they knock the cover off the ball, but the pitching just gives up runs left and right, and it destroys a great pitching performance that our pitchers put together. And that's the problem we're seeing. I mean, if you look at the overall standings, the 3 NL Central teams that are not in playoff contention right now are the Pirates are 2.5 wild card out, the Cubs are 3 out, and the Reds are 3 out. They're not that far out of the playoffs when you look at this. But the problem is the teams cannot put together a quality winning streak. I mean, hate to say it, guys, the Brewers in their last 10 are 4-6. It's not like they're lighting up the world right now, but you know what? I've watched more Brewers baseball since I've been around you guys in the last couple weeks than I have in a long time. And they're a nice quality team. But what I will say is that that's the thing with this division. You talk about it with Cincinnati. They get hot, they get cold. The Cubs, 45-49. The Cubs and the Reds have the same record right now. The only thing the Pirates have going for them right now is they got a series against the White Sox next, which could give them hopefully 2 or 3 easy wins, which could help them get a little bit closer to the Cardinals and possibly the Brewers. But do I see them making the playoffs in October? Not this year. Paul Skeens is amazing. I mean, the
Something
guy
else.
is just every start is a quality start for Paul Skeens. Period. End of story. He puts together a quality game. It is not a show. It is actually quality baseball. And most of the time, the Pirates show up when Skeens plays ball like they did today. And sorry, Brewers, the bullpen for the Pirates shut them down, just like you said. But I like the team. I think there's promise in the future. But the problem we've got is that a guy like Brian Reynolds is getting hot towards the trade deadline. And the question is Ben Cherington going to put him out there as trade bait and see what future prospects we can get for him, which will then continue the recurring cycle that the Pirates have been on, which is develop homegrown talent. They get good. And then the Pirates realize that in a couple of years, they're not going to be able to pay their salary. So they dangle them out there as trade bait while they've got a good handle on them and can get a quality return back. I don't know. We'll see in a couple of weeks. We'll see where things go.
I want to hear your response to a few names when I say them. Jason Kendall.
I loved him. He was phenomenal. One of the best players of the Pirates of all time.
Jason Bay.
Jay Bay he was a friend of the fan. People wanted to come see Jay Bay play baseball. I love, once again, another guy I loved going to see him play ball.
But I'll say both are guys that seem to me who have been on the wrong team at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Both
Kendall,
guys. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. Kendall was his ankle breaking was the thing that just killed everybody in Pittsburgh. When he ran down to first base, if you don't need to watch the injury, but there was a field mic right next to first base, and you can hear his ankle cracking as he runs to first base, and it broke everybody's heart in Pittsburgh. Trust me. But no, Kendall was a great catcher. Jay Bay, once again, they made the playoffs in the middle of the 2010s. They had that run there. And I've always imagined guys a couple years later and a couple years earlier, if those guys had been on that team, could they have gotten over that hump? Could they have gotten further in the playoffs? Could they have made it to a World Series one of those years?
And to me, I look at those and I see Jason Bay. It's kind of like they held on too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like, to me, like Tulowitzki with the Rockies.
Yep.
If they would have sold at the right time, they could have completely revamped their entire organization. Yeah. I feel like Jason Bay is in that same category for me.
Yep.
If the Pirates would have sold a little earlier, maybe they get a better return there. Maybe they get something more that would actually change the organization.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's just me. I could be way off on that. But that's just my kind of shot from left field.
No. And part of it is the general management that's come through this town. Some of it has been good. Some of it has been genius. Some of it, people have wanted to run people out of town the second that they show up. You know, Cherington has actually been the problem we've got right now is that we have an owner that it's a profit center for him. He wants butts in the seats and he wants to run the organization so that he has the bottom line numbers in black. Whatever that takes is what he's going to do, however it gets there. And that's the problem. He's not going to build this team to win. He's going to build this team to line his pockets. And so,
wait a minute. So Ben Cherington is the GM?
Ben Cherington is our general manager.
He was never a bad GM here with the Red Sox.
I understand, but understand that Cherington with the Red Sox, where he was given flexibility of payroll, versus Cherington with the Pirates, where he's under an edict that you've got to manage what money we're paying out because I, owner, not publicly saying it, but want to turn a profit, meaning that you've got to have club-friendly contracts. I mean, they brought freaking McCutchen back on a very club-friendly contract. Part of why he's back here is because the fans love him so much that they'll just show up to watch him hit a couple times a game. I mean, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Cathartic, isn't it? It's a little cathartic.
Hey, Steve, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think that they brought Skeens up late enough in the season that he's going to have enough gas in the tank to sustain the numbers that he's putting up right now?
Yeah. I think that they were very careful and very cautious. I bet you they had a lot of conversations with his coaches from the LSU asking what kind of workload he could handle. I know they were very deliberate in his bringing him up through spring training and then into the minors, into how he was being pitched and what he was being pitched. And that's the thing. People are just blown away that there's no difference, like day in and day out. Paul Skeens shows up, the speed gun reflects it, and the score reflects it. I mean, it's just one of those things where if Paul Skeens could pitch twice as many games as he's pitching for the Pirates might be in first place in this division, because when Skeens plays, it's a different team. But that's the problem. There's one Paul Skeens, can't pitch every night.
You aren't wrong, but Skeens
That's
really is something else.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean,
He's incredible.
Yeah.
All right.
He's-
Well, guys, next. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
as I say, but in 4 or 5 years, he's out of here. They're not going to re-sign him for what he's going to be.
We'll
worth.
take him.
Go ahead. Have a good time. Have a good time.
Skeens is going to want 300 mil plus.
Say what you want, but LSU
About
guys,
time the Braves spend on pitching.
LSU guys are usually either Astros fans or Braves fans. Just saying. All right. Well, gentlemen, going to our preview section this week. We have AFC South, where we have Homer, Chucky McGee in the corner there.
Homer,
Steve,
Chucky McGee.
Adam, Aaron, we're all going to touch on this a little bit. But let's go ahead and start off with the Colts here. We'll let Charles get some air out of his chest here for a minute.
Oh, man.
Talk to us about your Colts and what division. Charles, what do you got this year?
I'm very excited. I strongly believe that AR and Flacco will combine to be the number one quarterback in the AFC South this season. The Colts have
So bad.
really, really, really good coaching and potentially have a very, very, very good quarterback. I'm very excited to see. If it all goes well, the Colts are going to win this division. So last year on Christmas Eve, we went and saw the Colts play the Falcons. It was one of two horribly, horribly bad games that the Colts played last season. The other one was actually the Patriots over in Germany. But that game, Michael Pittman, that was when he had the concussion. He did not play. JT that was in the middle of his 8-game touchdown streak. You know, he did his thing, but there was like zero passing game. The Colts, I think, may have addressed that through the draft. Very excited about that. JT, got off to a slow start, missed the first 4 games of all the bullshit and everything and all, but by the end of the season, looked the same as he ever was. So, I'm excited about the offense. We bring in, some young offensive linemen. I'm interested to see the cat out of Wisconsin. What's his, how do you pronounce his name? Bertoli? I think they were talking him up at the beginning of the summer and all. You've got a great addition from the draft for the defensive side of Latu. That's going to be fun with him and Defoe. The Colts were like 5th in sacks last season. And we have a very underrated defense, and I understand why, because we were terrible against the pass, especially downfield. I mean, our corners are just not. We don't have any studs at that position, but we had like 4 guys who had 8+ sacks, 5th in sacks in the NFL for a team. All of those guys are still on the team. Quiddy and Defoe, that's an incredible duo. So to add Latu at that, which will strengthen the pass rush, which is what we really, really need right there. I think that's going to be incredible. And I'm really excited, man. The Colts have a shot. We were one game out. We were like 3 points away from going to the playoffs and winning the division last season. The top two teams in wins above the previous season are both in the AFC South. And the Colts were one of them. We had 5 wins more than the previous season. The other, of course, is Houston. But I think that that's going to continue. I think that we're going to add on to that this season.
So the question for you first, and then I want to go on the panel here. Has anyone seen up with Anthony Richardson, period, to justify the confidence people are spouting about him right now? The guy has played less snaps in the last few years than
I absolutely have. Absolutely have. Because when he played, it was greatness.
So was RG3.
What was –
ouch.
no, wait. What was it here? I've got my little – I made my notebook. I went digital.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I just take, snapshots of the stuff that I was reading. It's great.
While you're doing that, Charlie, look, I'll call myself out here. Look, I understand that for Packers fans, Jordan Love has not played a lot of football, and we're high on him. I get it. But Richardson has not played a lot at Florida. He has not played a lot in the pros. The sample size is so small for how much hype people want to give him. And look, I love Pittman. Downs to me is still a wild card. Pierce sucks at football.
No, don't worry about Pierce. It's Mitchell.
Pierce is done.
Yeah.
He
He's
is
still
now
there.
4 behind Mitchell.
He's gone.
I get that. But Adonai Mitchell's still a rookie. Adonai Mitchell's still an undersized rookie, if I remember correctly. And so looking at what we have here, it's going to be 6'2", 205. That's not what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
It's-
you're
it's
thinking
called
of
Worthy.
what's his
It's the
name?
Chiefs guy, I'm thinking it's undersized.
Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Anyway, look, to me, the Colts, look, you have my favorite running backs ever. Jonathan Taylor's an absolute stud. But my question still goes to anyone trying to talk about the Packers, the Colts, the Vikings, the Bears being contenders right now, which no one's talking about the Bears or Vikings contending if they have half a brain. Sorry, Illinois. But you're not – I can't sell that far yet. Are they good? Probably. But they're just not known. And that's the
you
problem I
gotta be
have.
a believer.
And I'll put Stroud in that mix. Stroud looked good. But now we got tape on him.
Yep.
Love looked good. But now we got tape on him. So I'm worried for Richardson in that respect. I'm cheering for the kid. I really am. But I'm worried for him.
See, I get that point of view on it. I do. But especially, if it's on the sample size, it's not there. But the thing about it is that, I mean, sometimes it don't take much to see what you see. And sometimes the writing is on the wall. The dude is a freaking athletic beast, and he's got talent. It's like with the right coach, that I don't see how you wouldn't expect him to do great things. Just from the small sample size. When we saw him in games last season in the NFL, did everything he did. Was there, he's a rookie. Yeah, but dude, everything he did athletically was incredible. I mean, he came out with a throw and ran for a touchdown. Like every time he started, I mean, it's just, he can do the damn thing. Sample size or not. Same thing, with agreement with Love and all. It's like, I was not a believer in Love, but this past season when I saw it, I didn't need to see much. Be like, all right, you know what? He can do the damn thing. Sometimes you just got to believe. You got to believe in what you see.
As a fan, we do. As an analyst, I don't.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, right? But Adam, you have a few comments here. Go ahead and expound a little bit.
So, first of all, let me get out of Minecraft. Second of all, let's talk about the Jordan Love piece. First of all, Packers fans, you can get on my bandwagon because I've been freaking championing Jordan Love all last year before he started exploding. You're welcome. Second of all, Anthony Richardson is going to be my most drafted fantasy quarterback this year. Period. AR-15 showed in the very limited sample size he had last year before the injury, addressed all concerns about passing to a point. He still has to prove the passing. The dude can run. If he can learn the slide is not going to be a problem. And he has the ceiling, with all due respect to RG3, that he never had coming into the NFL. Never. This is a kid that by far had the highest ceiling talent level of anyone in that quarterback class last year. And Combsy, sorry, F. Caleb Williams. Not good. Gonna fail. And saying this right now, we'll get there and I'll expound upon this when we get to the NFC North episode. The reverse of Blake Bortles. But that's besides the point. I shouldn't be saying that because he has more talent than Blake Bortles. But I love Anthony Richardson. I think the kid has got phenomenal freaking talent.
Mm-hmm.
And he is now surrounded by Taylor, who's healthy, a fantastic offensive line, stud wide receiver 1, stud wide receiver 2, great slot wide receiver in Josh Downs, that's 3. You've got a decent tight end now in Jelani Woods, who should be coming back from injury. Insert whatever freaking tight end you want. You don't even need a tight end. Have the tight end block. You get 3 stud wide receivers, a stud running back, a quarterback who can scramble. It's what Lamar Jackson's never had in Baltimore. 3 legit wide receivers and a legit running back with a fantastic offensive line. The ceiling for the Colts is Super Bowl champions, but it all hinges on Richardson because that's Richardson's ceiling. What he can do in an offense is that explosive. Love Anthony Richardson this year for fantasy. I think he has a fantastic ceiling. And I was on record of this last year saying that Richardson has the highest ceiling of any of the quarterbacks that came out last year.
Yep.
But he needs to prove it in the NFL because when it came to Florida, he only had a 13-game sample size, and there were some games he looked great. In some games, it was like, who the F is this guy? Right? Like, he has to show it. But he's got Shane Steichen, and that one piece is all you need.
Aaron, I want to hit you right away. You've been so quiet, it's making me feel bad. So I know you got thoughts. How do you feel with the Colts?
You know, I guess I can't disagree with anything that Adam said there in terms of you know, I think they have a huge ceiling. I just want to see Richardson stay healthy.
Yes.
That, you know, what we saw of him, yes, he was explosive. Yes, he brought, you know, he was the key to that team, you know, winning or losing. I mean, I know they did okay without him, but I just, you know, it's one of those things where I'm trying to think of who another quarterback is that we could compare him to that has a lot of, well, I mean, look at Joe. First of all, I'm not saying Anthony Richardson is Joe Burrow, but what Joe Burrow brings to the Cincinnati Bengals is exactly what Anthony Richardson, I think, how key he is to the Colts. And I know that's not like as a Captain Obvious kind of statement. Yeah, a starting quarterback is key to a team doing well. But I think he can be good. I see what Charles sees in him, but can he stay healthy? I mean, that's it. You know, I think they have the other pieces to win that division. I mean, I'm picking Houston to win it again, just because I don't think they did anything to get. Certainly didn't do anything to get worse, and I'm not sold on the whole. And then bringing in Diggs, I don't. You know, I know Troy's had some opinions as a Bills fan about Stephon Diggs, and I haven't liked Diggs since he was with the Queens. So I really, you know, I'm not like this guy that's saying, "Oh my gosh, he's going to bring him a Super Bowl." But I think it's going to be between Indy and Houston. I think Houston, you know, wins, and I think Indy ends up getting a wild card, assuming both teams stay healthy. But yeah, I could see what people see, like Colts fans, how excited they are about Richardson because he was fun to watch when he was healthy. Mm-hmm. So So yeah, I mean, and again, that's kind of football. I mean, you could say that about pretty much like at least half the teams in football. Hey, if their starting quarterback stays healthy, they can make a playoffs and everything. But I don't know if they're ready to like be a Super Bowl contender this year. But if Anthony Richardson stays healthy, that's going to be a fun team to watch. He you know, he makes it enjoyable. So,
Steve, what do you got?
Number one, I'm woefully unprepared because I didn't know I was going to be able to be on as long with you folks about this. But let me throw a couple things out there. Number one, glad I got Sunday ticket for this fall because games between teams in this division, even the Titans on a downswing, I think these are going to be some fun games to watch. And I'm looking forward to watching Indy play Houston. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks in those games. I mean, I think that the Jacksonville Jaguar, I mean, I've just always been a Doug Peterson fan. I don't know why I've always been a Doug Peterson fan, but I have been a Doug Peterson fan even back to his days in Philly. I think there's just something about the guy. He's just like he's just a different kind of coach. But no, I think the Colts. I mean, I everything that I see, you know, the clips, the highlights, it all hinges on a healthy Richardson. And if he can be healthy and if he can get on sync with that offense, Indianapolis is going to be very, very dangerous. And also the fact that they play, and I mean, Houston plays in a dome as well, but come late season in Indy, when they don't have to worry about playing home games in the snow, if it happens, it's going to help the Colts to hopefully maybe pick up a game or two that may have been a more challenging game for them if there were elements that they had to face. You know, the fact that I saw the other day, and I found that again, 3 of the 4 teams in the AFC South have replaced their head coach and starting quarterback since the end of 2022. I mean, this is a division as a whole that is pretty much on a rebuild. But at the same time, I don't think they are seller teams. I mean, I think Tennessee, if you look at the 4 teams in this division, Tennessee is the one that's got the lowest ceiling, where I don't think they're going to have like a bang up year. I think it's going to be a rebuilding year for them. But I think if you look, as you guys have all said already, Houston and Indy, I think are going to be fighting it out for the top, but don't count Jacksonville out in this division, because I think Jacksonville could also, maybe depending on how their season goes, and imagine if Richardson gets hurt, and I mean, if Stroud fails down in Houston, this could be a all bets are off crazy division coming into the end of November and December.
Well, I think that the bigger thing, you kind of hit it right there a little bit. Houston lives and dies with Stroud. We saw that last year. Davis Mills, we've seen that before. That's your backup. If Stroud's down, it's the Davis Mills show again. The Houston defense is well equipped. But we talked about during the baseball segment, injuries happen.
Yep.
Injuries are going to happen to every team. I hear from every fan base, well, we know the injuries. Bro, we all have injuries. Like, don't talk about injuries. We all have injuries. So a 17-game season is going to bring that. I think the Titans have the most holes in the division. I think that the Colts have the most questions in the division. I think the Jaguars are the most improved in the division. So I think that all these things, this is an interesting one to watch, to your point. These are going to be good games because division games are good anyway. But if I'm picking the division right now, I'm going Jags 1, Houston 2, Colts 3rd, Titans 4. And let me explain myself for a second on why. The Jags underperformed last year. Trevor Lawrence has pressure on him now. He played hurt most of the year last year. When he was hurt, that team suffered. You have a vastly improved wide receiver core for him right now. Brian Thomas is not a slack addition, by the way.
No, he's not. We'll get
you have addition by subtraction with Calvin Ridley being gone.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Ridley did not show up half the time. The guy's talented, but he won't play football all the time. ETN's a stud running back waiting to break out. You still have Evan Ingram at tight end. You have an improved O-line, and you have a dang good defense in Jacksonville that's going to turn heads. Jacksonville is well coached, and they're in a position that the Jacksonville game for the Packers is the game I'm most afraid of in our AFC South swing this year. And that's my perspective, right? I look at from where's my team going to do? We play these guys this year. That Jags game, end of October in Jacksonville, is what I'm most afraid of. It's not to start the Colts. The Colts are good. The Colts could be a very, very strong team. I'm not saying they can't. But I'm picking it right now. I'm absolutely on Jags, Texans, Colts, and Titans.
I want whatever Ben's having. Woo-hoo!
Now,
Can we
Ben.
get into Can we get into the Texans, please?
Hold on. What do you got first, Steve?
I was going to say, are you saying, Ben, that this is going to be a wide gap between first and last in this division, or do you think it's going to be tight between some of the teams? I mean, do you think there's a clear front runner and a clear basement team, or do you think this is going to be kind of everybody in the middle of the pack this year?
I think that this division most aligns with the NFC North of any division in football. You have three teams that are in varying stages of their build, and I think that I'm looking at this saying that the Texans come in like the Lions. If I'm giving you an equivalent, I feel like the Colts are in a way the Bears, and it's mainly because of the quarterback position for me. And then looking at it with the Jags and the Packers being the equivalents, with the Vikings being the Titans. I can poke holes in the Vikings all day. I can poke holes in the Titans and the Vikings all day. So that's where I look at this, and that's where I'm drawing my comparisons to try and make it something that I live and breathe, right? I love football. I love all football. I love NCAA football. But when it comes down to looking at this right now for our conversation here, I just see some things with the Jaguars, and it starts for me at the top, and I trust Doug Peterson just a little bit more to make that difference when it matters on the stretch.
Gotcha.
But that being said, Adam, go ahead and kick off that Texans conversation.
Okay. Now that we've had the craziness of Ben apparently thinking the Jaguars have any chance to win the division in the league.
He still watches Patriots
Yeah,
games. So listen to the guy anyway.
We suck. We're gonna have the number one overall pick. I told you as much.
But you're still gonna watch 17 games.
I'm watching Red Zone. I'm not watching the Patriots. Anyway, CJ Stroud. Do you forget who the biggest CJ Stroud truther in this entire chat is? Me. I was on record saying Stroud was better than Young. I was on record saying Stroud looked NFL ready. Ta-da! Stroud, Mixon, who is completely an underrated signing. Diggs, meh. But you have Collins, who we'll see if last year was a fluke. And Tank freaking Dell. Oh, the dude's so good. Solid offensive line, kinda. I think it's nice to have Tunsil on the left. Tunsil hasn't proven he can stay healthy either. So the offensive line, I want to see what goes on. And a super young, really good defense.
Yeah.
Best
secondary in the league, by the way, top to bottom.
What?
They're the best secondary in the league right now, top to bottom. If you look at their depth chart, I'm most envious of the Texans' depth chart in the defensive backfield is insane. That's an insane secondary.
I'm pulling up the depth chart right now. Wow. Oh, I mean, okay. So if we just go over the secondary, Jimmy Ward, Jalen Petrie, Jeff Okudah, and Miles Bryant is who they have listed. You have Kalen Bullock, who's no slouch.
Caleb Farley.
I don't know. I mean, Derek Stingley. Oh, they have a nickel back in Miles Bryant. Right. I was going to say, like, where's Derek Stingley on this list? Kamari Lassiter, Desmond King, CJ Henderson. I mean, his career is something else. But, like, if you can get anything out of Okudah, good for you. If not, Kamari Lassiter, step right on up. This is a really good secondary. And then you add in Will Anderson, Fatuski, Autry, Danielle Hunter, who they got for not a lot, Christian Harris, Al Shair, Toto, Like, this is a really good defense. And I think Danielle Hunter is going to bring some veteran leadership to that young core as well. I love what this is. I mean, Juice Scruggs, baby. Center. Just saying. Can you
Didn't
not
Hunter have like
Juice
16
Scruggs?
sacks
What?
last season?
Hunter?
Didn't
Hunter
Hunter
is-
have like something like 16 sacks last year or something?
Hunter's problem has been health throughout his career with the Vikings.
You can only play the Bears twice a year.
That too.
4 sacks each time.
Right. But like, I love the Houston Texans. They are the best team in the division. If you can get anything, you can, to use a phrase from Tristan Cockrock, if you can juice the orange with Stephon Diggs, do it. But if Nico isn't a fluke, which I don't know if last year was a fluke with him, because he's always had talent. He's never had the quarterback and the opportunity. So he's something we need to see. Tank Dell proved it. Tank Dell proved it as a rookie before he got injured. If everyone stays healthy there, that's a really good offense. They are the team to beat in the division. Texans 1, Colts 2. I think that's a tie, or that's a 1-game difference. Like, we're talking, as long as those two teams do what they're expected, 12, 11, 10-win teams that are fighting all season for the top of the division. Wild card teams, playoff teams. It'll be interesting to see the defense's progression. The biggest thing for the Texans isn't Stroud. It's going to be the defense come the playoffs. That's going to be the biggest piece for the Texans. I love the Texans offense. That entire team is going to be fun. And D'Amico Ryans had a great initial rookie year. Let's see what he does in year 2.
Houston ain't making the playoffs. Just too
Now
many
I'm
mouths
whatever
to
Charlie's
feed.
having.
Too many
Right.
mouths to feed. This offense, you brought in one of the bigger divas in the NFL today. All right. With to your point, man, with a loaded wide receiver room. It's too many mouths to feed. It's going to be a distraction halfway through the season. It's going to cause issues bringing Diggs in. Not to mention, man, what Ben was saying earlier. Now there's tape out on C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, that was taped
I
out on Joe
strongly
Burrow, too.
believe-
How'd that do?
Look, I strongly believe that he's going to have a sophomore slump. Do I think he'll make adjustments and be better and be a good quarterback throughout his career? I absolutely do. But I think that we see a sophomore slump from him in Houston. And I think that Diggs is going to be kind of a big part of that because he is a diva. And he's not going to get the receptions that he wants to get unless he's like, turned a corner and he's there just to try to get a ring and he's going to shut his mouth and do what they want. But I think that's going to have an effect on the offense. The defense is going to keep them in games all season long, but
Diggs' crap isn't going to be tolerated. Let me read you the people behind Diggs, because, by the way, this offense would be just fine with Collins and Dell. Noah Brown, who we know is a solid wide receiver. You have Skoranek, who is there. You have Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie, if you can get anything out of him, and you still have Bobby Trees. If Diggs is going to be a freaking diva, if I'm D'Amico Ryans, I'm going right up to him, getting in his face, be like, you're going to cut the shit now or you're gone. I don't care how much we're paying you. I will bench you.
Thank you, Bill Belichick. All right, Aaron, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think I kind of mentioned before what, how I feel about this division. I mean, I'm not sure I'm sold on your theory there, Ben, about Jacksonville and the rest of it. Like, look, I think I agree that yes, there's tape now, in Houston and everything, but I mean, there's tape on everyone. There's tape on Anthony Richardson too, and all these other quarterbacks. So I'm not sold on Trevor Lawrence. I think that's one of the biggest things about Jacksonville and how the Jaguars are going to finish this season. He's been so up and down, and I mean, I'm not an expert enough on football, other than, obviously I follow the Packers, but I don't follow all the other divisions as closely as I do the NFC North. But from what I see of Trevor Lawrence, there's just inconsistency there that I wonder if that's going to be fixed, this coming year, or if the additions that they brought in are going to help with that. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Houston's division to lose. I think they're going to end up winning it. I say Indianapolis is going to be second, Jacksonville is going to be third, and then Tennessee, just because, like we had mentioned, it's kind of a down year for them. They're going to end up being fourth, but I do think it's going to be closer than it's not going to be something. Hi, Dad. Hi, guys. Whoever that was, I don't know if that's Dominic or Delaney, but probably Dom. Anyway, so yeah, I'm still saying that Tennessee's going to end up being in last place, but I could see them, doing something where they end up making it as a wild card too. I mean, I think this is going to be a fun division to watch.
Steven takes the Texans this year.
It's CJ Stroud. I mean, I think that, we can go back and forth for days and nights if Stephon Diggs coming to Houston makes the most sense for them. But all I can say is if Stroud and Diggs have a big season like Josh Allen and Diggs had in Buffalo, this could be fun to watch. It could be fun to watch the start of the season, but come playoff time when there's teams sweating if they're going to make the wild card or not. And if Houston's, if we play things out the way that Ben's saying, and Jacksonville's on top of the division, and we got Houston and possibly Indy fighting for wild cards, this could be a very interesting, fun little thing here, But the one to watch is going to be they're playing Baltimore on Christmas afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be appointment television. Somehow the NFL, they say a computer makes their schedules, but somehow these really fun games like the Chiefs and the Steelers and the Ravens and the Texans are all right around Christmas this year. You're going to have all these eyeballs watching these games. I'm surely going to be trying to make sure we have our Christmas dinner around when this game takes place, because I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. Because I definitely think it may be Houston fighting for a playoff spot coming into the end of the season on that Christmas Day game.
Charlie, I know you're chomping the bit. Houston thoughts, what do you got?
And fuck Houston. No, seriously. I think that the sophomore slump is coming. I really do. I think that it's not going to be like huge, but he's not going to be as amazing as he was his rookie year. CJ Stroud's going to be a good quarterback in the future for sure, but they're going to be in second place, maybe third place, probably second place in the division. I think both them and the Colts and the Jags, all three actually can make the playoffs. I like T-Law as a QB. Probably like him a little bit more than Stroud, but yeah, man, Houston, they ain't gonna beat the Colts, man. It's gonna fall apart. There's too many mouths to feed. The defense is gonna be the strength this year, not the offense. And defense used to win championships, but the NFL's changed.
Yep. Isn't like saying too many bats? Anyway, I'm kidding. Had to poke. All right, so quick hits here, guys. Going at the Jags and the Titans. I know we kind of touched on them before. We've gone through the conversation. Just want your quick thoughts, and then also your predictions for the division. Charlie, I'm just lucky to start with you this time. So, quick thoughts on the Jags, Titans, and the division.
Well, I'm getting up early in the morning, drive down to Jacksonville, and what I'm not going to do is drive down to a town and see a Super Bowl contender or anything like that. But they are, they're building something. Etienne is got some potential. He's a pretty good running back. I like T-Law as a quarterback, though. I really do. The guys that they brought in on the receiving core. That's the one thing. Gabe Davis and a rookie do not make up Calvin Ridley to me. It's not the same. I think Evan Ingram's going to have a great season for fantasy purposes. I think Evan Ingram is going to be a stud tight end, just so y'all know. But his touchdowns are going to get better. He'll be targeted more than 5 times in the freaking end zone. But I think they're going to be middle of the pack right now. I think they have potential. I think here in the next few seasons, this division is going to be really exciting and really cutthroat. But I think they got a couple more years. I just feel like T-Law needs to just kind of settle down some. And they've got to see – they did bring in some pieces on the offensive line, so maybe a better running game. But they got to shore that up before they're going to be really good.
So one thing to throw at you, by the way, Jacksonville was 21st in the league in red zone efficiency last year, based on touchdowns only, at 50%. Their last 3 games were 36.36%. It's just that's where that difference comes to. Your point, Evan Ingram, is why I want to bring that up. Evan Ingram has to be playing that role for them to get that to change, because ETN's not going to do it.
Yeah,
Hank is going to do it. They need someone to be that big target for him down low.
Yep.
Steve, your hits for us on the Jags, Titans, and division standings.
Jags, it's Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think if he has a great year, things can happen. Wanted to bring up a fun quote that I found about Will Levis of the Titans. This is I think hilarious. This is actually from John Shipley, who is a podcaster for the Jaguars. The best way I can describe Will Levis is that he plays like a Vince Vaughn movie character playing quarterback. There was one start against the Jags last year where he took a sack because he turned to hand the ball off the wrong way. I'd be surprised if it ended up working out for him. I don't think the Titans are going to have a great year. I think it's going to be, it's just, they're going to have entertaining football, but I'm just not, I mean, Derrick Henry's gone. I mean, it's not going to be fun times in Tennessee. As I said before, I mean, I think it's going to be, you're going to have teams like Houston and Indy fighting it out the top. I think Jacksonville is going to be right behind them. And I think Tennessee is going to be the team with the lowest potential to do something, barring a miracle this season in the division.
Okay.
I agree. So here's the thing with Lawrence. We all knew he was off and on injured throughout the entire season last year, or what it seems like. He just got his he just got his mega money. I agree with Ben that Brian Thomas Jr. is a freaking young stud. All you got to do is watch the film to see how good he is. You can argue who was the better LSU wide receiver, Thomas or Neighbors, but we're not going there.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what Thomas can do, he gives them the red zone threat, like he was at LSU. Davis may actually be utilized properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with Charlie with the Evan Ingram take that Ingram actually is going to continue to do good things.
Mm-hmm.
ETN is still a threat out of the backfield. You get a solid offensive line. You get an okay defense. But this is going to be an extremely competitive division. I think a little bit different than the North because I don't believe in Caleb Williams as an NFL quarterback. But that's besides the point. If Williams is good, then yes, this is exactly just the AFC version of that division. You have 2 Titans fighting it out for the top in Indy and Houston. You've got the Jags who are hanging around. And with all due respect to the Titans, and I'll get my Titans takes out of the way with, bye, Derrick Henry. Hello, Tajay Spears. Don't know why you spent the money for Tony Pollard. With all due respect to Pollard. It all hinges on a prove-it year for Will Levis. You have Hopkins and you have Ridley. Prove it, Levis. Prove you can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Miami did it with Tua. Packers did it with Love. It's a prove-it year for Will Levis, which sucks to say for a sophomore, but when you're as hyped up as Will Levis is, someone who has a cannon of an arm, you've got 2 wide receivers who can go down the field to get it. If he can take take even a step with those 2 wide receivers, the Titans become interesting. But the Titans still don't really have a good secondary, in my opinion. Even with the Jamal Adams signing. Congrats.
Aaron, anything else to add?
No, I agree. I thought I was on mute. I had to check for a minute.
No, you're
No,
good.
like I said, I think Tennessee is definitely rebuilding, or at least having an off year this year. And I still like Houston, but if Richardson can stay healthy for a full year, then I think that could come down to like maybe a game difference between Houston and Indy. So
I'll correct myself too. The Titans got L'Jarius Sneed.
That was a good signing.
Yeah.
It was a good signing for them. I'll just pick the wide receiver opposite Sneed. It'll be fine.
And Adam, you talked about Tajay Spears.
Love Tajay Spears.
I get, I was kind of at first the Tony Pollard signing didn't make sense, but then the more that I think about it, Tony Pollard's more of that less is more kind of a player.
Yeah,
was really explosive when not asked to carry the bulk of the shares.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense to me that they're thinking maybe that's what they can get out of him with Spears is more as that Elliott kind of position there. And,
I love Tajay Spears as a
off
football player. Yeah, I love Tajay Spears as a football player. I loved his film coming out of Tulane. Tajay Spears is great. Stat-wise, with all due respect to Derrick Henry, who I'm massively on this year, and I've said as much, Tajay Spears had better stats on the snaps that he played better than Henry with a rookie quarterback that no one knew what he was going to produce. The talent's there with Spears.
Yep. Mid-round in fantasy, too. Grab them while you can.
Absolutely. So, quick game of buy or sell, guys, and I'm going to – I told you can't avoid it, boys. Here it comes. Can this still be the golden age of U.S. soccer in spite of their disappointing polar results? Steve, starts off, please.
Oh, my goodness. You brought me on for my soccer takes tonight, so buckle up, boys. Greg Berhalter. They go to the World Cup. Yay. We drew with England. It was a great match. I was in a bar that reached capacity because that was supposed to be the pinnacle of U.S. soccer. We played England at the World Cup on Black Friday. We got to enjoy that game. And then we find out that there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes with Berhalter and Gio Reyna and his family and how his playing time was being limited for some crazy reason. And there's all kinds of stuff going on. So they let Berhalter go, supposedly to find the future of U.S. soccer. Surprise. Guess who comes back to U.S. soccer again? Greg Berhalter. Jesse Marsh from Wisconsin, who I think was a pretty decent Premier League manager when he managed in the Premier League. Let go from the Premier League. Came back to the States, looking for a job. Canada comes calling. Not the United States. Canada comes calling. United States out in the group stage. Canada to the semifinals of the Copa, where the U.S. should have been. They need to think long and hard about who the next head coach of U.S. soccer is. Because with the World Cup coming in 2026, as we've talked about with United States women's basketball and Caitlin Clark, there's a lot of notoriety. There's a lot of press. There's a lot of spotlights that are going to be shown on this country with the Olympics in 28, with the World Cup in 26. This is U.S.'s chance in a lot of ways to make the right decisions for the long-term future and viability and recognition for these sports around the world. Because there's a lot of other countries coming, and they're coming fast, and they're coming hard. And we keep saying we're in the top echelon of men's soccer. No, we're not. We got a bunch of guys that can't run around the field that sometimes they're not playing quality football. I'll use the proper English term. It's not a good place for the United States to be. When you're sitting there and watching both the Euros and the Copas, and you're seeing these other countries, and you're seeing, for example, England, who is the cardiac kids of the Euros this year. Multiple games they could have lost. And Gareth Southgate, just in the same thing as Berhalter. After every game, when they're just hanging on by a thread, they're drawing teams. They're having to go to penalties to make it through. It's just mind-boggling that if a couple better decisions would have gone the United States' way, Berhalter may still have his job, and the United States would have been playing in the semifinals of the Copa. But there is video. There are still pictures of Greg Berhalter there during the last match in the group stage. Instead of playing for the win, instead of not giving a you-know-what about what was going on in the other match, which had to line up in a certain score line for the U.S. to be able to go through without much effort. Berhalter's there holding up numbers of the score in the other game rather than telling people what to do and go to attack. He's like, yep, the score on the other game's the way we need it to be. Let's just kind of not worry about what's going on here. And it backfired. So there's a lot of names. Tab Ramos. There's a couple other names that have come to the forefront. Jurgen Klopp, they supposedly asked him today and he turned them down. So apologize for the fire, boys, but I've been a U.S. soccer fan for a long time, and I'm getting a little fed up with things.
Well, let me fire back here a little bit. So some names that have gone out there as being options from the European side. There's one that, as a Spurs fan especially, caught my attention and I'm actually in favor of. Mauricio Pochettino, to me, is the perfect fit for U.S. soccer right now.
Yep.
We're looking at what we do, our style of play, the personnel that we have. It's eerily reminiscent to the Spurs squad he inherited when he came in. Yep. There was not a known consistent finishing presence. Yep. They were undisciplined in the front. They have a lot of midfielders, and their defense was okay.
Yep.
So, sound familiar? I mean, we have a crap ton of midfielders, a bunch of playmakers, but no one who finishes.
Nope.
Again, that's what she said. So that's anyway, that's a problem we're dealing with. And I know that the rest of the guys aren't huge soccer guys. Look, guys, I tried to start that soccer show, a year ago. It lasted for a few episodes, and I just got worn out. But when we're looking at this right now, I'll be that offsides American here, the offsides outlaw. Pochettino, to me, would be the most un-American soccer hire ever. And it's the most necessary hire in U.S. soccer history.
Yes.
Going back to the early 92, when the World Cup came to the U.S. then, that was the turning point. This is pre-MLS.
Yep.
They didn't even know if we could handle hosting World Cup games in our football stadiums. They had no idea. That they were worried about it. Like, guys, go dig into the history of the 92 World Cup. Fascinating.
Yep.
But here we are. We have the MLS. We have our women's league, that NWSL. We have MLS2. We've got leagues coming out. We have teams everywhere. Yep. U.S. wants soccer to be good. My non-soccer enjoying friends who don't watch it at all, the first question is, why the hell do we suck so bad at soccer? And I'm just like, well, we're still a top 20 squad in the world in soccer. Like it or not, we are. We're not playing like it right now, but we are. And our best athletes don't play soccer. Our best athletes play football, basketball, baseball, and pursue where money is in the States because they don't realize the money that's out there in the world of soccer because people don't talk about it enough in the United States. You want to talk about big money deals? Look at Ronaldo. Look at Neymar. Look at Mbappe. Look at Messi.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big
Way
money.
to name some of the top names in the sport.
I can take you down lower if you want me to. They're still smoking majority of the NFL rosters.
I mean, Ben, even Christian Pulisic out of the United States has risen to the world stage.
Look, here's Pulisic's one I can go to, but I can even go down the line of guys you don't know. Rodrigo Betancourt. You just saw he got at the bottle the other night in that skirmish at the Copa.
Yep.
I mean, you have guys that are making better guaranteed money than our American athletes are in our major sports, but our kids don't think about it or know about it because that's Europe.
Hey Ben,
So-
can I ask you a question though, as a soccer fan?
Yeah, of course.
There's been allegations out there, and not allegations, but people are saying now that there is a pay-to-play mentality in the development leagues in this country, in the soccer world.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Beyond the shadow of a doubt. And that goes across all sports. Look at what's happening right now. And I know some of you guys have kids that are in that age of play. But I'll tell you right now, baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey, they're all pay to play. Everything is now, can you pay enough money? Do you have enough access to where you need? And this is where the exceptions come into those freak athletes who can get the right sponsors early to try and help them and their families get out of the situation that they're in. In general, look at AAU.
Yep.
What does that become? Look at travel ball and baseball. Why in the hell are 10-year-olds crossing state lines to play a baseball game? That's not the Little League World Series. I mean, this is out of control. You have 10, 11-year-old kids who will use the term athlete to describe themselves, and a one-sport athlete, no less. You're 10. You haven't even hit puberty yet. You're calling yourself an athlete?
Yep.
No. Be a kid. Play every game. Get out there. Skin your knees. Bump your head. Do dumb stuff. Learn all the games and enjoy sport. And maybe when you start actually having, I don't know, body hair grow in, start focusing on an actual sport.
Wow.
Tell me where I'm wrong. I know it doesn't sound conventionally acceptable, but tell me where I'm wrong here. I mean, their bodies are not developed in a position to do what they're asking these kids to do, what their parents are asking them to do.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Isn't that the exact same thing that John Smoltz said at his his Hall of Fame induction ceremony? I mean, he spent half his speech talking about how these kids shouldn't be, playing baseball year round and traveling when they're in Little League and all this other crap. But he's not wrong. He's exactly right. I mean, their bodies are still developing, and there's more than enough evidence out there to show that focusing on one sport is not healthy for your body, especially young kids as they're developing. But every parent thinks their kid's going to be the next, Otani or the next, throw out whatever great athlete is out there. It's like, okay, they're probably not. Why don't we focus on at least getting them to develop their entire body while they're young? And then once you get into high school, then you can kind of specialize and all that kind of stuff. But these kids that, like my wife and I have this discussion all the time because our son is not into sports, but our daughter is into everything. And right now she's at that age where, most of the girls that play softball in the area that we play softball in, they're going on to the travel league. And so like last year she was in a league with all girls her own age. This year she was in a league with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, because they didn't have enough girls her age to fill a team, because they're all doing the travel thing. And my wife and I are like, we don't want to spend half our damn summer traveling and spending money in hotels and all that other crap. We just want to have our daughter be able to go to the local park and play a freaking league. And it's not happening nowadays. And that's frustrating. That's, for parents who just like, hey, I want my kid to play sports, but I don't want to have to spend $1,000 this summer traveling all over. When she may get to high school and decide she doesn't even want to play, softball. So anyway,
You looked at Lamine Yamal for Spain over in the Euros. 16. I think he turned 17 today or tomorrow. He scored one of the goals to propel Spain to the Euro final at 16. I mean, he's out there with men twice his age. And that's the problem, is that do you applaud that athletic ability, or do you say, what in the heck is a 16-year-old doing on a field? It's like one of those things. Like, you're happy that the kid is doing as well as he's doing, but at the same time, you're like, He's 16. Like, what is going on here? So I was just, flabbergasted by that as well.
Yeah, look, it's to Aaron's point. My son's team in their little league that he's playing in had kids who couldn't pitch on our game nights because they had travel ball that weekend and their pitch count was counted. So they couldn't pitch in our game because travel ball's playing this weekend. So they had to ask kids who had never tried pitching in their life to try and get balls across the freaking plate just so they can get through a game because their travel ball players had to save their arms for the weekend. Just play the freaking game, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it so much, but that's my soapbox for that. Next, buy or sell. MLB will have a new matchup in the World Series this season. Buy or sell, Adam.
What was the matchup last year?
I'm saying in general, a new matchup, period, is my question.
There are so many teams in baseball that are on the fringe. We've talked about it. We've got the powerhouse that is the Dodgers. You've got the wannabe powerhouse in the Astros, somewhat powerhouse in the Braves. The Yankees, maybe if they can fix stuff at the deadline. Their offense was on fire to start. It is massively cooled off. Like, it's weird because when I think new matchup, I think the Royals winning the World Series in the mid-2010s.
Mm-hmm.
The Nationals coming out of nowhere to win a World Series. That can happen. I don't know if that's happening this year.
Okay.
So I'm going to sell it because I do think the Dodgers are probably the favorites.
Interesting. Not the Phillies?
Who? Frauds. Come back to me when it matters.
61-32 with the 123 run differential. 36-14 at home, 25-18 away. Yeah, the Philadelphia Phillies, bud.
Good for them.
Too.
I mean, look, the Phillies could easily make the ALCS and get bounced. Right? Like, your entire offense is Schwarber and Harper. What has Castellanos done? Paying him money. Turner is not known for power. Brandon Marsh has been really nice this year. Can he hold? Right? Like, if you're telling me your entire offense predicated on two guys, Houston has an entire offense not predicated on two guys. Or any other massively AL East team. The Yankees could easily outdo them in power. The Dodgers can clearly outdo them in power. The Braves can outdo them in power. I just find it interesting the Phillies got the hard start. I'm selling it because I need to see the second half. I'll buy on the possibility of finally having something different. I'm selling because I think this is the Dodgers' year.
Okay. Charlie, what do you got? What do you think? Buy or sell? New matchup in the World Series this season.
Yeah, I could buy that. And the reason is because I do think that Baltimore has a really good shot of making
Baltimore too. Forgot all about them. Yeah.
And I also think that Seattle has a really good shot of making it. And these are both two teams that haven't really been there much, but also, the odds of having a brand new matchup, I think, are pretty good with those two teams. And I do believe that at least one of those teams is going to be there. So,
No, never mind the Guardians, by the way. Steve, what do you think?
The Guardians.
So, a couple things here. Number one, the Orioles would be in trouble right now if the Yankees were not in trouble as well. The Orioles are 4-6 in their last 10. The Yankees are 3-7 in their last 10. Imagine if the Yankees were 7-3 in their last 10. They would be leading the AL East. That being said, I'm buying that we're going back to the future because back in 1983, the Baltimore Orioles played the Philadelphia Phillies for the World Series. And I think we're going to see another matchup of the O's and the Phils, which is going to be whatever you want to call it, the 95 matchup, the Northeast Quarter matchup. I think that's going to be a little small sliver of the country, but it's going to be the heart of baseball in October and November.
Okay. Now look,
Love the Orioles.
my druthers. The Royals, Orioles, or Mariners playing the Brewers in the World Series is my perfect situation, but it's not going to happen. But that would fit the bill of what I'm asking you guys about a new matchup. Now, all that said, the Orioles, Mariners, the Royals have gotten cold, but the Brewers, Orioles, and Mariners are all in prime positions to make decent runs. Now, look, I guys, you can report us if you like. I know what my team is going to do. It's what we always do. We lose in the NLCS or NLDS somewhere in there, and off of something stupid where we will squawk about it all off season. You're not wrong. I know, but they're gonna threaten us with hope. We're gonna sit there and think, oh my God, the Rangers were last year. This is our year, and then they're gonna piss it away because that's what we do. But that being said, for me, the Dodgers and the Phillies, to me, are just teams that, dang, they're good, man. Like I hate saying that. I hate those teams. Like top 3 hated teams in the league for me: Phillies, Dodgers, Yankees. Hate them. I hate them. But those 3 teams are still legitimately in contention. Now, I think that the Guardians, the Orioles, the Mariners make for fun television, something I want to watch. Screw the Padres, screw the Dodgers, screw the Cardinals, screw the Phillies. The Braves or Brewers are all I'm really like holding on hope for when it comes to the National League this year. But the American League has me eyes fixed on this. All right, next question I'm going to hit on is unfortunately a Yankee topic because I can't help myself. I got to ask you, is Juan Soto human, buy or sell?
Buy,
and for context, for those who aren't paying attention, Juan Soto is batting .297 with 22 home runs and 64 RBI. Somebody drug test this man or alien, whatever he is. Oh, and by the way, playing next to him is Aaron Judge, who is not human. I don't care who you are, what you want to say. 304 with 32 home runs and 83 RBIs. Screw you, Yankees, and your stupid short porch and your absolute mashers in the outfield. These guys are freaks. But to you, Adam, buy or sell Juan Soto, and I'll throw Aaron Judge are human. Buy or sell.
Buy Juan Soto. It's nice to see he's on a team where he can maximize his power and playing potential. Sorry, Nationals and Padres, but not sorry. This is finally the move that is going to unlock Soto's ceiling. I'm buying Judge's human. I mean, can we just take a look at the sample size of Judge's pro-level career and say that how can you not be a little concerned about potential injury when we've seen it with his career before? I hope it doesn't, and I hope he has an insane year because he's that talented of a player. But Mike Trout was also outstanding every single year, and then injuries started popping up. I want to see Judge stay healthy, but right now, 32 home runs before the All-Star break. I'm sorry. What now?
83 RBI.
That's insane.
It's not human. That's not human. Charlie, what do you think? Buy or sell, Judge and Soto are humans.
Yeah, I'm with Adam. Judge is definitely human. He gets hurt way too much. Juan Soto and Ben Rice both might be robots, though.
Might be robots.
Just
Steve,
saying.
what do you got? Buy or sell, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge are humans.
Here's the problem. I'm selling them both, and here is the issue. Judge, I love seeing Judge do what he does. Looking at it from a fan's personality, I mean, people just love him in New York, but I think that he's not, like, he's having a bad streak right now. If you look at his latest statistics, he's not doing well. Juan Soto, we got to watch him because right now He crashed into the wall. I think it was last week catching a ball, and he's having hand discomfort. And if this is more than just a little bit of tweaking, let's see what the All-Star break does. If he's able to get some R&R and recover, then I may buy him as being more than human. But if this hand injury continues to aggravate him for the rest of the season, this could potentially, people can say he can continue to put up these statistics, but when you get an injury, if it's aggravating you already and you tweak it the wrong way, you can aggravate it more. And then you're not just playing through it, you're on the IL. So let's see what the All-Star break does for Soto. And right now I'm selling. But if he comes out and they're like, yeah, it's just a little bit of a sprain and he sat for a couple of days and he's feeling better now, let's see. Maybe we can buy him going into the second half of the season.
All right. The last one. Buy or sell, Bill Belichick will be anything worth watching on television.
Buy. Do you listen to the man's analysis? Buy.
No.
Where's my mute button on him? All right, so Steve, what do you think?
No, I'm buying. I watched the draft coverage that I watched was the Pat McAfee show with Bill Belichick, and the nuggets that he dropped in, he had some very unique insights. I mean, I know everybody's saying Nick Saban is going to light it up this fall with his, but Belichick's got a brain. Belichick's got a football brain. And I know sometimes he's a dry person, and you may not like his style of.
Feels like you're watching paint dry.
I understand.
Press conferences.
But fight through that droning, and the things that he was saying about the draft picks as they were being called, as Pat asked him what was going on, he was very insightful. So
he was on NFL 100 too.
I mean, his
analysis was insane.
He's a student of the game, and he shows it. He is not the person that you're going to put on an everyday panel. Like, he would not work on game day. He would not work with that panel. But if you put him in the right situation, like more of a film room type analysis show, and he breaks stuff down, I'm going to buy and be watching that every week and DVRing it.
I'm going to sell all day long in spite of my nerdism, and I love to nerd out, guys. I love to nerd out. What I'm imagining, let's go down a little thought with me for a second. Worst TV show ever. Rodgers on belly for film review. Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick both stroking their own egos on camera. It's called ego porn. I mean, this is what I'm imagining coming up. You're going to see these two guys. It's coming. You know it. Sorry, pun intended. But look, this is all going to happen. And we're going to have horrible television. The most boring men in football, who are also most intelligent men in football, droning on about the game I love and ruining it for me.
So what are you saying? That the ratings in Boston are going to be off the charts? The ratings in Milwaukee and Green Bay are going to be off the charts. Possibly the ratings in New York will be off the charts, but everywhere else in the country will get like a 0 rating.
Wisconsin won't watch that crap. We already know. We're not that stupid. We have better things to do, like ice fish and drink beer. So it's just those massholes up there might watch. We won't. So.
Okay, the show's gone off the rails.
We started off the rails, Adam. Come on, with hot dogs to start. All right, gentlemen, we're going to my favorite segment of the show, and that's where we wrap this thing up with 4 minutes on high. I will lead us off here right away. I'll tell you what, I am proud of professional wrestling. And let me tell you what, professional wrestling has found a way to make midsummer magic. You have shows you want to watch, stories that are actually engaging us, and companies showing, all of them showing, they're willing to change with a little bit of feedback. AEW has listened and they're changing. WWE has heard, they're listening and they're changing both NXT and the main roster shows to where they literally address saying that this will no longer be PG when it's on Netflix. Thank you. Now, I don't want the Attitude Era again, but I don't need the PG era either. Give me a healthy blend. Take the sex out, give me the sport, and I'm all in. Unintended.
I was going to say pun intended or not.
So, Adam, kicking to you, buddy. What's got you burning 4 minutes on high? Fire away.
Well, here's something that's really interesting. I have the privilege this year. I've had it in my headline here on StreamYard. Hashtag SFB14. And what is that? That's the Scott Fish Bowl. If any of you are fantasy football fans, you should know now of the Scott Fish Bowl. Scott Fish, just an amazing human. It is a massive charity league. This thing has raised over $500,000 from multiple charities over the last 14 years. And it's become a massive institution, from industry experts to celebrities, former athletes, tons of fans. The amount of stuff that's going on is insane. And look, the first ever charity gala for the Scott Fish Bowl is coming up. Where? Boston. I am part of the live drafts in Boston. It is going to be a ton of fun. There are a ton of big names coming there. And this is the first time we've ever actually done a traditional fantasy gala for Fantasy Cares. That's the name of the charity. They are an outstanding group of organization. I cannot say enough kind things about them. I am so looking forward to this. There are tons of people coming in from all over the country to come in and draft live. You draft 10 rounds live. We've talked about insane ideas to determine draft order. It's going to be a ton of fun. Some call it the unofficial kick off the fantasy football season. Fantasy football doesn't stop for me. It's year-round. So it's going to be a ton of fun. And to echo what Ben is saying, kudos to AEW and WWE. They're just outstanding. Shout out to everything that, I'm a bit bigger fan of AEW than WWE, just because I enjoy the sport, the athletic style of professional wrestling that I see more in AEW than I do in WWE. However, WWE is getting better. But can we just give a shout out to Joe Hendry, who's become the biggest name in pro wrestling based off his song? He has talked about everything he's done, and his theme song has gotten him so incredibly over. I've never seen a full match of this guy, but he is so over. He's gotten 2 big spots on NXT, and now is in the run-up to the 6-man pack, or whatever TNA is calling this 6-man challenge for the TNA world title, who, if TNA doesn't give him the world title, then they're doing something incredibly wrong. But, massive shout outs to what Joe Hendry has done for himself in his career, and then shout outs to the fans for helping to make it. This dude's song was #1 on the iTunes charts, I think, in the UK, when it came out. It's pretty impressive. Well done, Joe Hendry.
For those of you who don't know, let's go ahead and while I'm finding the song real quick for you.
My gosh.
I would like, go ahead, please, and just give us a rundown of.
I'm not singing the song, Ben. You want any of our viewers to run away? No, I'm kidding. But guitar solo, please. It
glorious.
Is so he's outstanding. It's literally the second part of that song is he tells the audience what to do, is swing your hands side to side. And you just see everyone in NXT and anywhere he's at, they're doing it. And again, I don't even know if he's a good wrestler. I've never seen a match of him, any of his matches, but he's so over.
It's like Danhausen all over again.
Oh my
all right,
God.
Steve, what's got you burning, buddy?
Save the best for last, and if I know a few of our regulars had to head off for other things, but I'll get Aaron's and Charles' take on this next week, hopefully. The news about Phil Knight. Did you guys hear about Oregon
I have not.
Oh, the report is he is all in with NIL money.
Okay.
Whatever it takes for Oregon to win an NCAA football championship before he's no longer with us on this earth. He is going to put as much NIL resources into Oregon as needed in order to get who needs to be there to be there.
Interesting.
And right now they're saying second-rate class in the transfer portal, and their 2025 class is 4th in the nation. 2 5-star recruits, 12 4-star recruits. So, I mean, I think if they'd still be in the Pac-12, it might have even been a different story, because I think they would have probably had a much easier path to get. But now with this consolidation of conferences, it's going to be a different story, because there's a lot more cross-country travel for the Ducks now as they enter their new conference this fall.
The Ducks have to.
What a better playoff
Why?
schedule. Finally, 12 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Took them
But
long enough.
I'm just to see someone like that now to basically say championship or bust on my dime
Right.
kind of blows my mind that we've now reached that point
in college
of
sports.
college football. And now they appeals court today said there's some ruling. I didn't see the whole thing, but that the players can be treated like employees. Like, I mean, this is going to change the landscape in the next couple of years as to where we go. And I think we're going to eventually have the haves and everybody else. And it's going to be a couple teams.
We already have that. That's what
No,
the
it's going to be even worse. No, it's going to get bad.
What,
I mean,
what you're going to see, I'm phasing on your heat. I'm going to phase in.
You're good.
You're going to see there be, I'll call it 30 to 40 teams that are actually going to matter, that are actually going to have any kind of prayer, chance, whim of trying to get a title. And they're going to all end up leaving the NCAA. I'll tell you why. Streaming is king. Forbes talked about this, Christ, almost 20 years ago, 15 years ago. The streaming giants want college football. Why? Because everybody in the Southeast, everybody in the Southwest, most of the Midwest, and a good chunk of the West Coast, and some of those morons in the Northeast still want to watch this stuff all the time.
I don't.
And that's why I said the morons in the Northeast. Case in point. But look, when you have that kind of money in play, you have 40 programs that actually make really good money on media, that make media money, that actually have followings. They have people that are actively engaging and going to, watching, and investing in their programs. That's where you're going to see this land. And some people will be surprised that teams are actually going to matter. Teams like Maryland are going to matter. Why? Under Armour.
Yep.
Oregon's always going to matter. Why? Nike. Yep. Washington. Microsoft. You can go down the line here. There's people that are going to matter because of who's in control where. Yep. And this is where I look at this and say it's a crying shame between transfer portal and NIL. Pick one. You get one thing. Either you get NIL, which I'm in favor of overall, or you get transfer portal. Both, those are two bullets in the skull.
Yep.
And I love college football, guys. I love college football. Sorry.
And speaking of college football, next Friday is the full release of College Football 25.
Can't wait.
The first NCAA game in as many years.
Bart's got me. I can't wait.
It is going to be, yeah. I mean, we'll see if Aaron's had a chance to try it out before, because they can do an early release middle of next week, but the main release will be next Friday, the 19th. So buckle up and have a great week.
Check your bandwidth. But guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for embracing my ridiculousness and what we were covering tonight. And guys, remember, it's not a hot dog if there's not meat in it. Have a good night.
Go England.
Full-time job living good.